I am co-living with some of my best friends and really soul family, and
Mm.
they have a little family. And so it's like I get a glimpse into a possible future that a part of me desires, but also scares the shit out of me, really.
Welcome to The Way of the Muse, a podcast for women who want to create richness in every area of their lives, from business and career to lifestyle, relationships, family, purpose, and fulfillment. I'm Gigi Sage.
And I'm Makena Sage. We're a mother-daughter coaching team, and combined, we've spent over 4 decades helping people create their best and most fully expressed lives. If you're ready to step into your bigger dreams with ease, fun, and flow, you're in the right place. Let's get into the episode. Welcome, everyone. We are back with a very exciting episode here, an on-air coaching session with our beautiful guest today. And so Gigi and I are both here. You want to say hello, Gigi?
Yeah, so hello, and thank you so much for doing this, having the courage to be on here. We're excited to work with you.
Thank you. Thank you both for giving me the opportunity to come on. It's really
Yeah.
exciting. When I
Yeah.
heard of this opportunity, it was like, yes, pick me, pick me.
Okay. Well, you're our first one, so this is super exciting. So we're all learning here. Um, so you had sent in, we had sent you some questions and you sent in your answers, and I looked through those. And but we were chatting before we got started a
Mhm.
little bit about what's kind of underneath everything. And I'd love to dig in deep right away and kind of see what that is. So you talked about some fear. You've got a lot going on in your life. You're successful, you're moving forward, you have an exciting life, but there's some things that you're feeling underneath. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, in my current circumstances or my life and where it is today, I am co-living with some of my best friends and really soul family, and
Mm.
they have a little family. And so it's like I get a glimpse into a possible future that a part of me desires, but also scares the shit out of me, really.
Mm.
And a lot of it is because I didn't have a stable family upbringing,
Mhm.
that I look at this example that I'm watching live and in action, and it's so beautiful, it's graceful. Of course, kids are kids, so it's chaotic as well, but it's handled with so much grace and love. And there's a part of me that is fearful that I won't be able to create that.
Mhm.
And it really comes down to financial stability. I'm a new business owner in this venture I acquired in the last year, and it's not hitting the level of success that I envisioned and mapped out for it. Not to say that it's not. It's a great business venture. It's not getting the traction that I personally desire to propel me to a future that I feel stable in. And
Mhm.
so it puts me in this fear state of like, oh, do I even want this? Do I want to put myself in this scenario where, like, yeah, there's just this fear that comes up that I
Mhm.
that I won't be able to create that. And
Create the family dynamic.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, I see some sadness come up and when you talk about that. Yeah, definitely some emotion in your eyes. Yeah. Is it something that you want? If we put all that stuff on the side, if I said, your financial situation is great, and would you go for having a baby?
even there. Even there, I hesitate, and understanding the commitment level and the sacrifice of what it takes on a mother.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a driver.
Mm,
And and so there's this fear that I won't be supported in
mm,
in that path of motherhood. So a part of it feels like it's not even reachable for me. And a part of me just shuts it down actually, of
mm,
like, no, I'll think about that next year. And I've given myself a timeline internally, but now this clock is actually starting to tick a little bit. And I hear
Okay.
it in the
Okay.
background, like TikTok, where that wasn't the case beforehand. And so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there is a dance with that. And what comes up is the fear.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm curious, if you set that fear aside,
Mhm.
would you go for it?
Mm. Yes.
You would. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 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 So there, if you really tune into that and put your mind aside for a moment, I think it's absolutely what you want. I see that. And again, I just been working with people for a long time. So often I can just see they don't even need to talk about it. So that's the line of energy and clarity. You understand? You wanted some clarity. Right there is your clarity, is because inside, that's really what you want.
Mhm.
And when you go from that place of what you want, here's the interesting thing is when you move forward with that instead of the fear, then what happens is life starts to help you organize around that.
Mm. Mhm.
If I sit in my fear and I can sit and think of 1,000 different ways things can go wrong or fear and everything, right? And there's no way for me to finally tune in and really gravitate to what I want and what I'm looking to do. But when I look inside and go, okay, what do I really want here? If this fear was set aside, would I go for this? And it's an absolute yes for you.
It is.
It
I felt
is. Yeah. Yeah.
it in my
Yeah.
heart, stomach, core.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And you get stronger and you get brighter when you talk about that. You see that, McKenna?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peaceful. I also see a lot of peace.
Peace. Yeah. And your beauty comes out even more. Now, when you talked about earlier and talked about it, the fear, you look sad and you look, like there was a lot of fear. Now, it doesn't mean that the fear is just going to disappear, right? But when we tune in and go, okay, now I know what I want. And then I come from that place. Now, how do I organize my life and everything I'm going to do around that desire? And that's where you can sit down and really look at what are the fears. And it's like that exercise of looking about what you don't want. Have you ever done that? You
Yeah.
write down everything you don't want, all the fears, basically. I don't want this to happen. I don't want that to happen. And then you shift, you go, okay, if I don't want that, what do I want?
Mhm.
I want this, I want this. And then you focus on what you want. Because I always say we get what we don't want and we get what we do want. Yeah. And it's all in where we put our focus. If we focus on what we want, the probabilities increase exponentially. If I focus on what I don't want, they increase in that direction.
Mm.
But life is an up and down. We never know, right? What's going to happen. We have no. So you can only tune in and go for that and live your life in a way that you are absolutely clear this is what I'm going for. And then in that, that's your connection piece to everything. So
Mm.
no matter what comes up, you go back to, I know this is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's
Mhm.
that?
It feels great. It feels great actually just to have that distinction and awareness around it because I have that in business where I can
Right.
go after what I want and I surrender to that. And just talking to you now or hearing this reflection now, it's, oh, I focus on the things that I don't want in this area, which is bringing up the fear and the doubt where I've seen it manifest in the business side. So just taking that over to this side and and focusing on the things that I do want and
Yeah. Yeah, because when we go to the fear and we sit in that, what happens? You start creating evidence for it. That's just the mind. And that's so it's an energetic shift in your body and everything. It's also a perspective shift in many ways, and owning that in yourself, absolutely. And then the thing of comparing when you're sitting in a world and you see how people are navigating their families, here's the thing is you're a loving person, you want a family, and you're going to do the best you can. And it's not always going to be perfect, I'm going to tell you. And that's the other thing, you'll mess up your kids. We all mess up our kids, no matter how wonderful we try to be for them. There's always something because every person, we always say that saying is every little person is like a snowflake, right? And you have no idea the impact of this child. I have 5 children. They all have different views and different ways that they were impacted. One didn't affect them at all. The other one, it affected them hugely. So all you can do again is stand in the center and go, this is who I am. I want a family, and I'm going to do everything I can to do the best I can. And through your love and your acceptance of that, you'll create something beautiful that's going to have ups and downs. I'm not going to lie to you.
The different unknown. Yes, that feels very good.
So let's take this now from the approach of, okay, I know what I want. And now what are the steps that you feel strongly about in knowing this? What do you want? What do you want to do?
Well, now the question is, where do we want to raise them? And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that has been a big question, and that's something I put in my intake form because we became nomadic through some black mold, and through that it gave us an opportunity to drive across the country, not only for business wise, but to see where there's a possible future where we wanted to live next and raise a family. And so I'm born and raised in Southern California. San Diego's been my home.
Yeah.
I love it here.
You have a lot of mm-hmm.
Yes. And it doesn't seem realistic in this day and age right now to start a family here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would mean, the next step is making a decision. Do trust and surrender and do it here, and that the universe will support, or make the move for future wise, stability wise, across the country. We're looking at Virginia as a possibility, and my partner in life and significant other is full-fledged, like let's go to Virginia. And there's days that I'm yes, and there's days that I'm like, oh no. So then the lack of clarity on that aspect of, okay, where from a step standpoint, that's also where there's resistance, or I guess more fear comes up. And raising a family and a whole across the country where I actually have nobody. I shouldn't say I don't have anybody. There's a great tribe there I felt very nourished there. We did 2 test runs, I should say, like 2.5 months of staying in different parts of Virginia and testing it out. It felt really good. Felt very nourished there and supported, and found a great group of women. But also the reality of having a child and not being close to a support system.
Right.
Also what I get a glimpse into, living with a family that has that support.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the reality, the logic brain comes in of, okay, well, where are we going to do this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your partner, is it that he really loves Virginia, or he just wants out of California? What's the reasoning?
There's some business opportunities there
Okay.
that he wants to pursue full force, and so that would there's still a lot of unknowns
Mm-hmm.
because because we're in the cannabis space, cannabis education,
Yeah.
and would love to start brands and dispensaries in a new state that would open up recreationally. And
Mhm.
Virginia's on track to opening up recreationally, so as a new state. And so it's, that's the other part where the logic comes in from a business standpoint of how can we, and I say we because we are partners in business and in
Yeah.
life. So how could we do that and also raise a family?
Mhm.
So
When would you want to get pregnant if you're when you're going to try?
I would love next year this time.
Next year. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I would look at it as, is there a way to, you said you went and spent time in Virginia for how long? How long?
The last 2 years, we've spent about 2.5 months there each time. So
Together, 2.5 months at one point, together.
yes, yes,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, so there's a lot of different ways to look at this because maybe right now you don't know where you want to put your family,
Mhm.
and so if there's business opportunities now there, you're not planning, when you say next year, are we talking 8 months, 10 months? What are we talking?
I'll be 40 next year.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would like to start my 40s or at least go into my 40s trying to
When's
get
your birthday?
March. So
March. Okay. All right. So you have time right now
mhm,
to say, okay, the game is right now, we really want to get, like you said, the business up and going.
mhm.
So maybe it is a matter of going to Virginia for a little bit longer time and really making it around. I don't know if you're still up for living a little bit like a nomad, or you want to get settled right now, because you could say, 90 days you get in there and really try to grow the business and
Mhm.
everything. And, do you have to live there when the business starts growing?
It's still up for creation, I should
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As it's not officially legal yet to even be able to plan that.
Okay, yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
won't
Yeah,
officially.
I think it's not really in a position, right, Val? Like if they went there right now, they can't really grow
They can't really
something.
do anything. All right. Okay. Yeah.
We we won't have an inclination in terms of who gets voted in until November.
Okay. So,
It's a process.
yeah. So I'm just going to tell you in terms of feedback, because there's so much more energy and light with California. Don't you see that, McKenna?
Oh
Yeah.
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 Huge light.
So much. Yeah. You become, again, stronger, brighter. And that's a game where, business wise, it doesn't mean that you can't have businesses in other states
Mhm.
if you're willing to create the lifestyle that maybe you are back and forth. You can have a little one, and that little one can go anywhere,
Mhm.
unless you're really set on the baby needs to be in one place. That's not the way I raise my kids at all. I raise my kids to be travelers. And like I said, some really resonated to that and some didn't resonate to it so much. But at this point, it's really important that you all, like you said, are growing your business and being able to focus on your business. And you have a time period here for the next probably year and a half,
Mhm.
18 months. That's the game.
Mhm.
And really choosing where you'll be, being open to, it could be California or Virginia.
Mhm.
But if you want to put roots in, then I would also look at what are the reason why is financially, right? You wouldn't live in California financial. I would really look at the numbers. Have you done that? How much more would it cost you to live here?
In the beginning, it depends. It really does because numbers wise, investments, we'd actually be able to buy a house over there where the barrier of entry here in
Mhm.
California is almost, it feels impossible in today.
Yeah.
So Virginia would definitely be a place where we could buy right away, and there
Mhm.
would be a, a sense of stability
Mhm.
there in that sense of building wealth and a future in terms of assets.
Mhm.
I agree in terms of it was very inspiring to hear your full story and how you created that with your family. When I
Hmm.
listened to your podcast, your solo cast, and
Hmm.
it was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it definitely opened up the possibilities. I mean, I've never lived by societal standards
Mm-hmm.
after 26. So, and I've
Mm-hmm.
showed that out of my uh, lifestyle. So that was
Mm-hmm.
really cool to hear how you created that with a family of five.
Yeah.
And it felt possible to hear your story of like, oh, okay, well, if
Yeah.
we had children in another
Yeah.
state, we
Yeah.
could we
And
could
we lived in different places, so we summered in when Austin was where we bought,
Mhm.
right? We bought land there. And then so we let me get this, spring and wintered
Spring and
there.
fall, no, spring and fall in
Yeah,
Texas,
that's right.
winters in
And Maui was for
Hawaii,
many years. Yeah. And then
summers in Europe.
Europe was most of the summers. Yeah. But we bought and invested in Texas. So
okay.
that's another game is you could invest in Virginia, get
Mhm.
yourself a place and still spend time in California.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I think to share too, Val, because I've been on this journey in a very big way of coming to clarity about whether I wanted kids, and always thought I did, and then thought, well, am I sure about this? And went on a big soul searching journey with that. And I think ultimately what it got down to, like you, I absolutely want kids, but there were all these other pieces. But I think the question was really to like, what is the experience I want to have
yeah.
with my kids?
Question.
And what kind of, so when I came and we were thinking about moving back to San Diego and Gigi had us, she said, go for several weeks, go like you're living there. And I tapped back into our, community here the way it is now. And I experienced how people were raising their kids here and what it felt like to be in the community here. It wasn't a conceptual idea anymore. It was like, it felt right in my body. It felt like this is the experience I want. And so that made it very clear. And then, yes, California is far more expensive than Texas. And there were all these different things, but it was just like, for both me and Sunny, it was like, this is the experience we want. We're going to move toward that experience. And then, you never know in life, right? If things work out or how they're going to work out. But to move in that direction, it's like things then can start to line up around that is the way it feels. And I think that's often with babies, what I've seen and Gigi's pointed out to me is sometimes they become, I don't want to say this forcing function, but this spark that creates a
What
timeline
you
and
need
that
to do. Yeah.
creates,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, energy and
Yeah.
opportunity where before people, there's not as much of that. Once you're pregnant or once, that timeline's clear, then it's like, okay.
Then you choose. Yeah, yeah. So it's wonderful to have the option to be able to think what are the different ways you'd like to live. I think the distinction is shifting it from worry to curiosity,
Mm. Mm.
And
Yeah.
okay?
possibility.
And possibility. So really, instead of, oh my gosh, what if, it's, I'm curious. Like if we approached it this way, what would we do? And then really go from, our work is all about what you heard in the podcast about tapping into your vitality, what brings you alive. And it doesn't mean you go and do every single thing that brings you alive. But when we're talking about something like this, right now is the time to do that for you because you do have time. Like I said, you have 18 months, let's say, or maybe more until you have a baby. And so this is the time to be curious and try some different things and don't worry about that you haven't figured it out yet. It's okay. You will figure it out when the time is right. Yeah. Yeah.
When you said the shift from worry to curiosity, it felt like a
Yeah.
stone was removed from my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great to think intentionally, but sometimes I see, especially with the younger generation, it's almost too intentional sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah. Life has a flow to it. You see what you want and you go after that, but trying to fix it and create it too much, you actually stop the flow then. Trying
Move
to be
with the
so
energy.
sure, so sure, and that's just not the way things work. You can go for, like I said, you can go for that. This is what I want. I'm clear about that. And then the how, let's play around. Let's be curious. Let's try a couple of different things here and then see what we really feel moved to. What's going to work.
Just that alone feels so good.
Yeah, you look right.
I feel
Yeah,
lighter already.
good, good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, again, this is going to be a short time. It's not a long session, but you knowing that one piece
Mhm.
helps you start to navigate everything else. You see that? Even your business. Because again, now is the time, since then you go, okay, again, the question is sitting back and going, we're in action. What's the strategic action to take right now?
Mhm.
So we can be where we want to be. And we may not be there when we get there. You may say, I want this amount, and it may not be there, and you still move forward. But to step back and reflect a little bit, again, out of curiosity, what would be a way for us to approach things so we really feel like 18 months from now, you can have some freedom there. You have things working.
Yeah. Well, and this conversation is really bringing it to my awareness. I operate that way in business,
Mm,
and I don't allow myself to operate this way in dreaming up the possible family life.
yeah,
It goes to the worry and fear.
yeah, yeah,
So being in flow with it and allowing
yeah.
what's going to take shape in the
Mm,
next year is even something that my body tenses up a little bit. Even just saying that on this side, it's it's interesting to, or it's the awareness around what cues up in my body just saying that, where
mhm.
there's this there's this want to control that side where it's
Yeah.
like and letting go of that and being more in flow and trusting that
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
in the next year, 18 months, we will be supported and have our family.
Yeah. And like
However it shows up.
yeah. And like you said, you do that in business in terms of, I know you're a good businesswoman. So same thing. You still want to think it through, but not out of fear,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
out of fear, out of curiosity.
Yeah.
What do I want? And what would work here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you move with your desire, it opens the door for magic to come in.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down. A lot of good
And
nuggets.
write down when worry comes up, you go, oh, that's interesting. Now, how can I shift this and be curious about this?
Hmm. It's these tiny little nuggets.
Tiny little nuggets, they're little baby shifts, and they start to make the change in terms of, yeah, just your approach. Yeah, and moving forward. So how's that for the first little baby step?
That feels great already. Like
Good.
I feel lighter in my body and yeah, to just even have the awareness and distinction between how I'm operating and we'll say just these two pillars of my life. And
Mhm.
I can allow myself to bring that over to this. It'll come with a lot more ease versus angst and worry and fear.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm
Is there
curious
any?
oh, go ahead, Gigi. Yeah, is
No,
there
go
anything
ahead.
else first? First, let's ask that. Yeah, is there anything else, Val, in this time that you
no, I mean that's really the big overarching
Yeah.
this pull and direction of our lives is for me, like that's and agreed upon too. Like that's our North Star is we both do want that, and we both want
Mhm.
to give it an honest go. So to remove the worry
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and shift that is huge.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah. So practice that and use that and start to see what shifts. Yeah. Yeah. And then in your approach too, in your journeys is coming from this place of you know what you want. And now it's just a navigating and see, okay, how do I want this? What am I going to do here? And play around with that.
Mhm.
Yeah. What was your question, McKenna?
I was just curious because you came in with a desire for clarity. So what's clearer now? What's clear now?
What's clear for me is that yes of wanting a family. There's
Mhm.
been this dance of, yeah, and granted, yeah, I am going to be pursuing child or having children later on in life. And so, that'll be its own path, when we do try, and I'm doing everything in my wheelhouse to give my body the best opportunity in doing that. And so, you know, there's yeah, but having that feeling that like yes, that it's a hell yes, actually.
The hell yes. And owning it.
And owning it, that it's not
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe. Like it actually, the session helps shift the maybe to a hell yes, where, some days I am more of a yes, but then some days I'm like, oh, that would, that looks like a fun life also to, stay in the no kids club
Mhm.
and travel and have a great time. And then, but also the question comes back to, well, what are we doing all this for? What's the legacy? Like why are we building businesses and working and creating in this realm, in this field if, we're not also going to have a family. So that core yes, that hell yes, I feel it, where it's almost like it's there where I didn't feel that before.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Nice.
Hmm.
What else?
Amazing.
What else are you going to take away from today?
Shifting my worry to curiosity.
What a relief, huh?
Even just saying that, the lightness in my body, to feel it in my chest and to feel it like just taking a breath. Actually, the breath doesn't get trapped in the chest. It actually goes down to a belly breath. So to
Nice.
feel that and also the distinction around like, oh, I operate in flow, and that's how we manifested and acquired the business that we have today, is because
Mhm.
we were fully surrendered and in flow and actually on a hunt for a completely different thing. And it's like, oh, well, transfer that over here. Transfer
Yeah.
that trust. Transfer that trust to yourself that it's gonna happen. And
Mhm.
you just, trusting that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
opposed to doubting it, because there was doubt that I'm not going to be able to have that.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on and being
Thank you.
vulnerable. We really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank
Mm.
you both. I appreciate this so much. So very, very
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you both.
And I
Yeah.
talked to so many women who are grappling with similar things. I think your story is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you both.
All right,
All
my dear.
right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.
That's our episode for today, but let's not make it the end of our love story. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and think of some women in your life you'd love to share it with. And if you want to learn more about our events and programs, visit wayofthemuse.com. See you next time.